Hello, hello. Are we live? Hmm. Hmm. Okay. I wanna share my entire screen and we're gonna vibe code. And and is this vibe code has got so much vibe that we'll try it with just one hand. Hello, GPT.
Hey there. Loud and clear. Happy to have you here. Feel free
Can
to throw
you?
any questions.
We are live on YouTube right now. Can you tell me about myself, whatever you know about me, and present it to the audiences?
Absolutely. So, for everyone tuning in, let me give you a little intro about our host. They go by Ashcam, and they're kind of a jack of all trades in the world of online education and tech. They teach a bunch of different topics, think coding, math, even Rubik's Cubes, and they love making learning fun and interactive with a lot of vibrant animated stuff. Basically, if you can imagine a cool cartoon themed classroom, that's their style. They're also super into building web apps, playing
No,
around
I
with AI
mean,
tools.
no, 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 that's boring. Tell me about the vibe. What kind of vibe have I got?
Ah, got it. In that case, let's put it this way. Ashcam's vibe is basically like a creative whirlwind of fun and innovation. They bring a dash of humor and a whole lot of outside the box thinking into everything they do. It's like hanging out with that friend who always has a clever joke or a new twist on how to learn something. So that's the Ashcam vibe. A mix of quick wit, a lot of empathy, and a big splash of creativity.
Okay, those does sum up to be someone called Ashkam, but I'm more than that, GPT. So let me tell you what's the today's idea. The today's idea is we're gonna build a website, just like we built a website called the Pi Brilliant. Do you remember Pi Brilliant?
Absolutely. I remember Pi Brilliant. We cooked that one up as a fun and interactive Python learning site. So, hey, if today's idea is to whip up another awesome website in that same spirit, I'm all in. Let's get that
So
creativity rolling.
what I'm thinking is similar to the idea like where we had in the Pi Brilliant, where I can have the text and at the same time I can have these interactive elements along the way. So something like from the MDX and from the component. So these two things, what I'm thinking, and I'm gonna spin up uh, a zip file so that people can know, yeah, this is also one way to do. So we're gonna vibe it, we're gonna zip the file. So can you tell me what should I write?
Absolutely. Let's vibe it up. So, for your zip file and your little intro text, you can say something like, "Welcome to our next creative spin, where we're blending MDX and custom
mm,
components to make learning as
keep it very precise, concise, very small prompt, as the GPT knows about me. So yeah, I can include something from that.
Gotcha. Let's keep it super short and sweet. How about spinning up a new interactive site using MDX plus custom components, just like we did with PyBrilliant? Zip file coming up.
Spinning up a website.
Absolutely. Let's sum it up neatly. Spinning up a new interactive website, just like PyBrilliant, but with MDX magic. Zipping it now. There you go. Short and precise.
Interactive website. One moment, I'm writing, so you do not have to repeat it again and again. So spinning up an interactive website with MDX
You got it.
and
I'll let you jump.
interactive. Okay, in the meanwhile, why don't you tell me a joke about coding?
Sure thing. Here's a little coding chuckle for you. Why do programmers always mix up Halloween and Christmas? Because Oct31 equals Dec25. All right, you keep writing that down and just let me know if you need more.
Okay, I got it. Okay, I have not written zip file, but let me check what it is thinking. Will it give
No
me
worries at all.
in a zip file?
Absolutely, I can help you put together the pieces for a zip file. Once you're ready, just let me know what components you want to hide, and we'll bundle it up nicely.
Okay, I mean, of course, I think it. I have not written any Next.js or anything, but I'm thinking it should take the Next.js anyway. Let's see. Otherwise, I'll have to write the prompt again. So what are we doing here? Can you give me one idea again? What are we doing? What is the whole idea?
Sure, let's recap the idea. Basically, you're looking to spin up an interactive website using Next.js where you're mixing MDX and some custom components to make it engaging, kind of like what you did with Fiberlian. So the whole plan is just to create a fun interactive learning site, bundle it up into a zip file, and share it out. Simple as that.
And so, and another idea I have, like there are so many websites. Okay, I'll get back to this. So there are so many websites like, let's say UKMT exam. So how can I create the like interactive version of each question so that people can like visualize and then visualize at the same time they can solve the question. So it will be like little fun for them.
Absolutely. That sounds like a great idea. So basically, you want me to turn those UKMT exam questions into something interactive and visual. You could do that by using a mix of simple web animation and interactive elements. For example, you could have each math problem appear with some kind of visual representation, like a little drag and drop for geometry or a slider for number lines, so students can actually play around with the concepts. That way, it's not just about solving the problem, but also about exploring it visually, which definitely makes it more fun and engaging.
Okay. Although I did not mention about the Next.js, but yeah, it is creating a zip file with the Next.js and yeah, TypeScript and Tailwind CSS. So we are using all these. Can you give me a quick recap of these dev dependencies? What is dependencies versus the web dev dependencies? What's the difference?
Absolutely. So here's a quick recap. In a project like the one you're building, dependencies are basically the packages that your code needs to actually run. For example, things like Next.js or React, those are the core tools that your app uses when it's live. On the other hand, dev dependencies are packages that you only need during development. They help you build or test your code, but aren't necessary when the app is actually running in production. So something like TypeScript, which helps you during coding, or Tailwind CSS for styling, would often be in the dev dependencies. In short, dependencies run the app, and dev dependencies help you build the app.
Okay. And how come this React JS and TypeScript they are different? Because I see the React JS code only, like the cons, the count, set count, and stuff. So what's TypeScript?
Yeah, totally understandable question. So React is basically the JavaScript library you're using to build your UI
And
components.
before
It's all
before
about
you
the
move forward, I want you to be a little bit interesting. Say something in poem. Just don't just talk to me. There should be rhyming in your poem and fun element. Always add the fun element at the end. Some concepts I want you to explain me through history, through story and stuff. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, let's add a little rhyme and rhythm to the tech talk. In the land of code where React does play, we mix in some TypeScript, brighten our day. React is the artist, painting screens with flair, while TypeScript's the wizard, adding types with care. And if you want some history to make concepts shine, just imagine old scholars drawing lines and signs. We're blending old tales with some modern day fun. Coding poems in the moonlight? No, that sounds fun. There you go, a little poetry in the mix, and we can definitely sprinkle in stories anytime.
Okay, I think I got the starter pack. I'm downloading the starter pack and it has git ignore, it has production. Okay, I just need to say this thing npm run build and npm start. Okay, let's see. There is quiz component called create mdx pages anywhere under the app, import components at the top of the mdx file. Okay, customize and mdx. What is this mdx? What is the full form of this mdx? And why it's why, I mean, it does feel fast. If I like open any site, any page right away, it does open, it loads fast. So what is this MDX? Because if I do the same thing with the HTML, CSS, I think I'll have to like write a lot of code, I think. Yeah. And at the same time, it's gonna load very slow, I think, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So MDX stands for Markdown plus JSX. In other words, it's like a supercharged version of Markdown that lets you write JSX components right inside your Markdown files. So instead of just having plain text like you would in regular Markdown, you can drop in React components right in the middle of your content. That makes it really flexible for building interactive pages or quickly embedding custom elements. And you're right, it does feel fast because Next.js and MDX are really good at optimizing how things load. If you were doing the same thing with just plain HTML and CSS, You'd have to handle a lot more of the heavy lifting yourself, and it might not be as snappy or as easy to maintain. So
And
MDX basically gives
and what about React? Like, why should I be mastering React then, or are they connected?
Yeah, they're definitely connected. React is kind of the foundation. It's the library that lets you build those interactive UI components, and MDX is just a nice add on that leverages React. So if you're comfortable with React, you can do all sorts of cool stuff, including using MDX to add those interactive bits into your content. In other words, mastering React is like learning the main toolset, and then MDX is just one of the handy extras you get to play with once you know your way around.
Okay, now I'm inside my VS Code editor. What do I do? Wait. Okay, yeah. It's loading. And then what is the first thing that I should do? I have the zip file. I have like unzipped it and then I have uploaded it. Now what do I do?
All right, so once you've got your zip file unzipped and everything is in VS Code, the first thing you want to do is open up a terminal inside VS Code. You can do that by going to the terminal menu and selecting new terminal or just using the shortcut. Then you'll want to run npm install to make sure all your dependencies are installed. Once that finishes up, you can run npm run dev to start the development server. That'll spin up your local environment and you'll be able to see your site live in your browser. Then you're off to the races.
Wait. I mean, too many things. I have in the inside the terminal. Should I npm install first?
Yep, exactly. You got it. The very first step is definitely to run npm install in the terminal. That'll make sure all the project dependencies are pulled in and set up. Once that's done, you'll be ready to run the dev server and see everything in action.
I wonder, can we also make like animation stuff using the web development? Because I can get the code right away and like start to do it. And also that inside the VS Code, I have bunch of agents. I have those GPT, Claude, and to be honest, I like Claude more. Why is Claude? I feel like Claude is better, or maybe GPT does not want to like give you too much thing at one go. But Claude, like it keeps on giving me the files, it changes the file, it copies the file and stuff. How is it? Are the, are the GPT LLM lazy? Are you lazy?
Haha, well, I can assure you I'm not lazy. Just maybe a bit more polite about not flooding you with too much at once. Different AI models have different styles. With Claude, it might lean into being a bit more proactive about handing you everything at once, while I try to be a little more measured and check in with you step by step. But hey, if you ever want me to just go all out and throw a bunch of files your way, I can totally do that too. As for animations, absolutely. You can do tons of cool animations with web development. Libraries like Kramer Motion or even using CSS animations can let you create some really fun effects. So once you're all set up, you can definitely dive into that.
Wait. When I say animation, I just don't want like bunch of words to go up and down. I want to have a character, and the character should move, or the character should be able to do stuff programmatically. So how's that gonna work? I mean, I like 3JS, but yeah, how do I work what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I get what you're aiming for. So if you want a full-on character that moves around and does stuff programmatically, then something like 3JS is a great way to go. You can create 3D models or use existing ones and then animate them however you like. Basically, you'll write JavaScript code to control their movements, interactions, and behaviors on the page. So it's totally doable. It's just about blending those animation libraries with your web development setup. And once you got that going, you can have your character doing all sorts of fun things on screen.
Will it change expression and stuff?
Yeah, you can definitely do that. You can have your character change expressions, move around, do all
So
sorts of stuff.
so
It's all
basically, the
about using the
idea.
right assets.
Okay, the idea is very simple. With the like help of GPT, I should be able to do like everything inside the coding. Is it possible? Is it possible to do like, let's say I'm vibe coding. I know the surface of the programming or the underlying idea. I'm not coding it. So the idea is to be able to like go in all direction, like use Next.js, React.js to be able to do agents, to be able to do Python, so on and so forth. So what about that? Can you tell me about that niche, this niche?
Absolutely. So what you're talking about is basically using GPT as your sort of all-in-one coding copilot. And yeah, it's totally possible. The idea is that you can vibe code your way through all sorts of different stacks, whether it's Next.js, React, Python, or even working with AI agents. Basically, you provide the vision and the high level direction, and I or another tool like Claude can help you fill in the code details, troubleshoot issues, and guide you step by step. It's like having a coding buddy who can help you jump across different languages and frameworks without you having to be an expert in all of them. So, yeah, that niche is totally doable and actually pretty fun.
Okay, teach me about the DSA in as simple language as possible, like you are teaching a grade 8 student.
Absolutely. Let's break it down in a super simple way. So DSA stands for data structures and algorithms. Think of it like this. Imagine you have a bunch of toys and you need a good way to organize them. Maybe you use a toy box or a shelf, or you line them up in a certain order. That's kind of what a data structure is. It's just a way to organize and store things so you can find them easily. And algorithms are just like little step-by-step recipes you follow to solve a problem. Like how you might have a recipe for making a sandwich or directions for solving a Rubik's Cube. In programming, these are just instructions to solve a task efficiently. So in simple terms, DSA is just about learning the best ways to organize your stuff and the best ways to solve problems step by step.
And how does one learn it? That's what the big tech companies look for, right? I mean, whether you're able to model any problem, real world problem into the coding, and then how are you like modeling and solving it?
Yeah, you've got it. That's exactly what a lot of tech companies are looking for. They want to see that you can take a real world problem, turn it into something you can code, and then solve it efficiently. So to learn DSA, you usually start with the basics. You learn about different data structures like arrays, lists, and trees, and you also learn some standard algorithms for sorting, searching, and so on. It's a bit like building a toolkit. Then you practice by solving lots of problems. The more you practice, the better you get at recognizing which tools to use for which problems. And eventually, it becomes second nature to model those real world scenarios into code. So it's really all about learning the basics and then practicing a lot.
Hmm. I can also share my screen, right?
Hey, it's great. Absolutely. You can share your screen if you want to walk through something together or show you what you're working on. I'll be here to help and guide you along as you do that. Just let me know what
Okay.
you need as we go.
I did the installation part. Oh, wait. Or is it still okay? It's still installing. Fine. Because I ran it in the new file and it is saying it does not recognize next. That means it is installing now. Yeah. May after the installation, it should recognize, right?
Yep, you got it exactly. Once the installation finishes up, it should recognize the Next.js command just fine. Sometimes it takes a minute or two to pull in all those dependencies. But yeah, once it's done, you should be good to go and it'll run those next commands without any trouble.
Okay. So the project that I'm making, what would be the cost of this project online? Okay, that's your advanced voice.
Sure. So, in terms of cost, if we're talking about just getting it online, it can actually be pretty affordable. If you're using a platform like Vercel to host your Next.js project, they have a free tier that can cover a lot of small to medium personal projects. So you might not even have to pay any. Then you might be looking at a few dollars a month for a hobby plan or more for a larger scale project. But for just getting started, it's often pretty budget friendly.
My God, this VS Code is not letting me vibe, man. Like it's taking time to install only. How can I get
Yeah,
a
it
MacBook? Prepare me a plan to buy a MacBook in 1 week. What should I do?
absolutely. Let's come up with a quick plan. So if you're aiming to get a MacBook in 1 week, first step is to figure out your budget and the exact model you want. Are you going for a brand new one or a refurbished one to save a bit of cash? Once you know that, check out some reliable stores or websites, Apple's official store, maybe Amazon or Best Buy, or even certified refurbished sites. Then you can either order it online for quick delivery or see if you can pick it up in the store. And if you
Yes.
need to shuffle some funds around, just plan out your spending for the week to make sure you're all set. By the end of the week, you should be vibing on your new MacBook.
Hmm. That easier said than done. Okay. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tell the agent only to install stuff and run my code. Run dev. Let's see. Although I know like I can just write npm install and npm run dev. to start it, but yeah, I'm giving it this to the agent. And which agent is this? I think it's GPT 4.1. What it is?
Yeah, you've got it. Basically, you can just let GPT-4 handle those instructions, and it'll guide you through as if it's your own coding buddy. Just tell it what you need, like run npm install and npm run dev, and it'll help you along the way. And yep, you're right, we're using GPT-4 here. So just sit back and let the agent handle those commands for you.
It is asking me to sign in, although I signed in. I mean, okay, I refreshed the page, right? Yeah, that's why. Okay, okay, okay. The VS Code the uh, and this edge is like connected.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes when you refresh or if there's a bit of a hiccup, it'll ask you to sign in again just because it wants to keep everything synced up. So once you sign back in, you should be all good to go, and VS Code will just pick up where you left off. Just a little dump in the road, but you're on track.
Okay, it's loading right now. In the meanwhile, can you tell me about the Next.js or the React.js or the JavaScript concepts?
Absolutely. Let's do a quick dive while it's loading. So, Next.js is basically a framework built on top of React. It makes it easier to build React applications by adding things like server side rendering, routing, and other cool features out of the box. So, you can think of it as a handy toolkit that sits on top of React to make your life easier. React itself is a JavaScript library that lets you build user interfaces out of components. Each component is like a little building block for your web page, and you can reuse them wherever you want. And of course, JavaScript is the language that powers it all. It's what you use to add logic, handle events, and make your web pages interactive. So, in a nutshell, you're using JavaScript as the foundation, React to build your UI components, and Next.js adds some extra features and make everything a bit more seamless.
Okay, so now I have the file, and inside the file I see app, component, node module, git ignore, mdx component, next config, package JSON, post config, tailwind config. So what are these files? Can you go over the files one by one, and how would I interact with this? Ew.
Absolutely.
Soon.
Let's break it down. So, inside your project, you've got a bunch of files and folders that each have their own role. The app or components folder is usually.
Uh-huh, I'm listening.
And just to wrap that up for you, each of those files has its own little job. Your next.config.js is like a settings file for Next.js. Your tailwind config.js is where you set up your tailwind CSS styles. The package.json is kind of the project manifest that lists all your dependencies. Great. So just to finish that thought, your post CSS config.js is basically a configuration file for PostCSS, which helps process your CSS. And the node modules folder is where all your installed dependencies live after you run npm install. You don't usually need to touch that one directly. Basically, you'll mostly interact with your app or components folder to build out your pages and components, and you'll tweak those config files if you need to adjust any settings. But other than that, you're pretty much good to go, and you'll get the hang of it as you play around.
So the app that I told you about, I got three things right here. One is the layout folder. Inside the app, I have the doc folder, layout folder, and component folder. Uh, hmm. What do I do? Oh, sorry. Inside the app folder, I have only doc and only. Okay, I have only docs. Yeah. Okay. I don't think I'm able to vibe. This is taking time. Fuck off. Johar.